So we're here, we want to know about numerology, synchronicities, universal signs, spiritual animals. We're going to talk about nature. We're going to talk about animal behavior. That's all. Okay. So I'm not going to, it's called spirit animals because we are understanding the essence of the animal. So it's basically animal essence. Okay. I'm just using the word spirit, but doesn't mean that I'm going to go spiritual about it. But if you ask me about energy, I will go deep into it because everything is energy. Okay. Everything is energy. And if we don't understand or feel or sense how energies are shifting, moving, and being shown to us, this is where we sometimes can get a little bit stuck, lost, or unsure. Yeah. And like I said, as a newborn baby, you can only understand energy, nothing else. And as we grow, we lose that ability. And this is the journey. This is the journey of going back to that energy state of being. Yeah. To understanding energies around you. And as you can enter a room and you can tell if you should be there or not. You can tell if the energy is good or not. You can tell if you're gonna have a good time or not. So it's only down to this type of understanding and sensations in your body. So I'm gonna start very simple. Um, okay, so I put this workshop together because I've had a lot of people asking about numbers, numerologies. Um, I've had profound experiences with numbers, spirit animals, synchronicities, and these signs that come up to guide us. And it has evolved over time because I didn't notice these straight away. They're always there, always. Since we're born, these signs are always there. But I never, you don't notice it straight away. But when you start noticing, um, you will be picking up them more, and then you'll be understanding how to use them in your own way. Yeah, I'm going to show the ways that I've understood how to use it through energy. I didn't read this anywhere. It's all been about sensing and energy and how it creates a perspective in my mind. But then you're going to find your own ways of doing that. Okay. And like I said, these signs are always there. And the reason why they're always there is because our soul, we are connected to everything, to energy, to everything. Animals have behavior, they have an essence, they have a message. Okay. Numbers, they have an energy as well. They have powers in terms of how they amplify things, how they bring that energy of quantity into something. Yeah. And it's been studied by, the spirit animals have been there since the Druid times, since ancient time, since, you know, thousands of years' time. The same with numerology, which comes from astrology, comes from people, using the stars and the sun and the moons. Back in the days, they didn't say, "Oh, I'm 2 years old." They would say, "I'm 16 moons old," right? Because it's 13 cycles in a year. And through the year they count the solstice, they count the winter solstice. So this is how people used to relate to the environment, and it's all natural stuff. There's nothing that is being invented. And if you live in Africa and you have a mountain to your left and the sun rises on the right, but over the years, over the 12 months, the sun kind of changes a little bit to the mountain. This is summer, this is autumn. Yeah, but that only works in that environment of that African place because that mountain lives there and the sun moves that way. But if you go to Alaska, if you go to other countries, you have other elements of the natural elements to guide you. Yeah. So, and how all these signs come about, it comes from experience. So, for example, let's say back in the days, if you watch these um, um, Vikings and movies, it kind of shows really well, like the eagle. The eagle is always flying up above, and they have overview of a perspective, right? They know exactly what they want. They can pinpoint right there that fish in that water, and they can be flying for miles away, and they go and they get that fish. So it's a perspective, but it's a very clear understanding of where they want to go. So that's the spirit of the eagle. So if you're seeing eagles a lot of the time it's going to show you that, open your perspective, right? There's something there for you to see. Yeah. And that's all it is. It's just using those essence to kind of change your perspective, how you're seeing things. And back in the days, they might be going to war and they see a crow. So it could be a bad omen, you know. And every time they go to war, they see a crow and they think it's a synchronicity. And then it becomes a message, it becomes a symbolism for that. Okay. So some of the stuff is symbolism that comes from people's experience, like my experience that I'm presenting today. It will be symbolism. But other things are very real, are very um can be interpreted by anyone and however you feel comfortable. Like the other day, I was a bit stuck on a couple of things, and I was just scrolling through Facebook and I saw ants, and there was posts and posts about ants, and I'm like, who's been posting? Everyone's been posting about ants, and then I thought, right, think about ants. They're very resourceful. Use your resources, right? So I went back on my thought and I thought, what are my resources? And I found the answer. So, it wasn't like I was trying to make sense of anything complex. I was
Hmm.
just looking at the behavior of the ants and going, they're very resourceful, right? They can carry their weight 10,000 times more than, so they will be using resources to make sure that they can keep the job done, get the job done. So it's really looking in that essence of things rather than um, um, try to be so specific that you get lost in it, but also then finding ways to interpret it for yourself because it's nobody else. The sign is for you. Okay. These signs here today, they have a massive meaning for me today. It's nothing for you, nothing. But if you ask me from 2022 to today, I was meditating before this. It's just I didn't notice yesterday in this room, but I know today made sense, and I was like, yes, that's the reason why I'm here today. Yeah. But it means nothing to you. So the signs are for you. And it's to interpret it with your mind, with your perspective, with your ways. I'm gonna open the channel for you to see how many different ways you can do it. And you can use them, but you're also going to create your own ways of using them. Okay. So stay open-minded because this is not set in stone. This is just different lines of perspectives. And of course, there's a science that you can go and read. Um, I'm not going to go there. There's the sacred geometry related to numbers and science that you can go and read. I'm not going to go into that. It's for you to find out, it's for you to read, because when we are looking for something to read and search, and this is another point of synchronicity, that which we need to read at that moment is going to come to you, right? You in school, everyone reads the same thing. But when you're off school and you're searching for something, you're going to find that thing that you need to listen, you need to hear. Yeah. So it's for you to go and kind of do some researching if you want after this. And how do they manifest in your 3D earthly living of your life, right? They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're here on those pictures. Yeah. They're on the clocks, the numbers in packages, they're on cards. This is more intentional, right? That was more intentional. They're on animals, they're on plants, they're in the sun. Whatever comes to your attention is your sign. You don't question it. And that's the thing I come back to. We don't work on self doubt here. We work on whatever comes first. it is what it is. Yeah, we don't overthink. Overthinking is a conditioning, and we try to skip that. Okay. So it's nice that you guys had a bit of understanding from the other course, and then I can pinpoint a few things. And then how to use it. So throughout the course, little things about how to use it's going to come out. So as soon as I say, I'll pinpoint for you, so then you can write it down if you want. But basically, these signs are here on a 3D, right? Who is sending these signs? It's your higher self, is your soul. You design your life when you came to Earth. You sat at a table, this is metaphorically, you sat at a table and you decided the lessons you wanted to go through. Okay. And so you design, that's what they call the divine design. You divine these synchronicities to come through, to manifest on your 3D life. So you can be guided, so you can follow it and stay on your path. Yeah. So you also have your guide. So if you have guardian angels, other guides that that you resonate with, spiritual, religious guides, anyone is part of your guidance system, not just your soul and your higher self. And if soul and higher self are the same thing, we just see them at different stages, but they're the same thing. And how they I said that how they manifest, but why they manifest? Because they come to validate you, they come to guide you, they come to help you make decisions at crossroads, at intersections. And when I say these, at moments in your life where you are struggling to listen to your soul, so your soul will be sending signs for you to, yeah, to wake up and see, and to be shown the way of your path, to stay on your path. How many times have you made a decision which you took a path where it was a little bit more troublesome, maybe a little bit more chaotic than you expected? You did learn your lesson, you got to the end. But if you have taken another path, another decision, you would have learned the same lesson, but maybe a bit easier. Yeah. And these where we sometimes can override our intuition because of our own conditioning, of our own self-doubt. And if we override your intuition, we'll make decisions that feels that are counterintuitive but feels right because we're overriding the intuition. Yeah. And that's just a blind spot because it's conditioning blind spot, blinding you, is programming blinding you, is all those little things. So yeah, we will make decisions on those blind spots, and they're not wrong decisions. They just take you on a path of a little bit more of denser lessons rather than a lighter lesson. Yeah. But the lessons are the same. Okay. Are you learning through density or are you learning through love? That's you're gonna learn through love at the end of density anyway. But and this is what happens when you get to a point in self-growth that you're more confident with these signs, with confidence with self-healing, getting rid of your triggers, going through the process of healing those triggers. You start to notice that healing becomes more loving to yourself, more fun. Yeah. So and that's the idea. So let's go for numerology first, numbers. Very complex. I cannot go in such a complex way. I can only go on how, when they come up, what can you do with it? Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna use the symbolism for these numbers from the Tibetan ancient knowledge. This comes from their own scripts, their own set of beliefs for numbers. One of the oldest as well. Okay, so I'm using them. So you can write down, it's very simple. So we go for number one. Number one is new beginning. Okay. Number one amplifies any other number that comes with it as well. It amplifies the power of that number, the understanding of that number. It makes it more profound. So new beginning. So for something to have a new beginning, something else has to have an end. Yeah. Has to be completed. So a number one is new beginning. Number two is duality. It's usually places where you find yourself in duality, in doubt, going through a mirror reflection with other people. Something that you need to see. It's one thing's going to show up for something else to be seen. So there's a duality there. Okay. And usually it's also a number for spirituality, because spirituality is all about lessons, about self-growth. So if there is duality, there is a lesson. Number three, it's a catalytic number. It's also a trilogy. Anywhere there is a trilogy, like the three of you, there is a lot of healing to happen. A lot of healing. There will be a lot of mirror reflection. There will be a lot of mirroring. There will be a lot of things to see from each other to help you see something else in yourself to get to change. Okay. But usually number three is associated with Jesus. And the reason is because Jesus held such a profound understanding of unconditional love that his presence alone could change people. So basically, he was a catalytic person. He could change others without changing himself, because the change that occurred in others, it wasn't because of his judgment, right? He didn't have to change his judgment to change others. Make sense? So I could be a catalyst for a group of two or three. You could be a catalyst for in your family in a way as well. You could be the one that holds the energy for your family nucleus, your husband, your kids. You could be that one that is always aware of everyone's energy and can assist. Okay. So is that number three? Number four is an earth number, is Gaia, is Mother Earth, is everything related to the elements, air, fire, water. It's about community. What we're doing today is a number four. It's an activity of as long as you're grounded, an activity that grounds you is a number four. Farmers are number four because they're very grounded in individuals. They're always connected to the animal's energies. They understand animal behavior. Yeah. They're attuned to when they're hungry, when they need to go out, when it's cold, when it's hot, when they need to come in. They're attuned to the elements, to the everything. Yeah. It's an attunement number when you're feeling very attuned, very connected. Five, it's raw change. It's raw change. There's no other way around it. Something's going to happen. It's a tower moment. If you read tarot reading cards, it's a tower moment. It's a moment that needs change, that needs redirecting, that needs starting again, that needs seeing a different perspective to happen in a different outcome. And if you see 555 on the clock, be ready. Number six is harmony. It's a very harmonious number because you have three trilogies, right? Three catalytic numbers together. One cancels each other out in a way. So you create a harmony of numbers. of energy, of power. It's a very high spiritual number. It's sacredness. It's higher communication. It's that moment where you meditating and you communicating with different energies from different dimensions. It's about love. It's about balance. It's about your higher self. So getting a sign from the universe is a 6. Yeah. Number 7 is spirituality. It's a place where you pray, a place where you meditate, a place where you connect with yourself, with your higher self, with your guides. It's the altar. It's an activity that is meaningful to you for self-growth. When I stopped to meditate, I said, oh, about 7 o'clock, I'll start meditating before the course. And I got myself busy with something else. And then by the time I sat down and looked at the clock, it was 7:07. Um, and I just thought it was beautiful, right? The 7 was there for self-growth or doing meaningful stuff. Yeah. Number 8 is manifestation, is abundance. If you think of number 8 is the infinity number, the movement goes everywhere. It goes left, it goes right, it goes up, it goes down, never stay anywhere and never stay stagnant. It's always moving and it shifts everywhere. So it can bring a lot of movement for abundance, for opportunities for growth, opportunity for learning. But it's all in the now. Yeah, it's what's happening now. So it's very stable, very structured in a way. Because it's structured because it hits all the points, but it's a stable, but it's the now. So if you think you're manifesting something in the future and you're trying to get abundance, you have to think now, where am I abundant now? Yeah. And number 9 is completion. So you have 1 as beginning, number 9 as completion. So it's the end of something. Something has been completed, something's finished. It's a graduation, it's the end of paradigms, it's end of sorrow, it's the end of suffering, it's the end, right? You put an end to it. It's a relationship that you needed to end. It's a 9. Yeah. So if you want to make a decision, you're not sure, and you keep seeing 9, perhaps there's a guidance to keep seeing 9 to put an end to it. Yeah. But it's not about just acting on the numbers. It's about going back and reflecting how does that ending feel, and then going from there. But it's a guidance for you to go in and ask that question. Yeah, not necessarily to just go and make a decision, but it's to go within and ask that question, see how comfortable that feels, and what else you need to work through to make that decision more comfortable. And then we have master numbers, which are double digit, and they are double digit as the same number, so 11, 22, and 33. And according to the Tibetan ancient knowledge, 11 is illumination, 22 is strong duality, and 33 is highest compassion. It's the lessons of unconditional love. It's the lessons of Jesus, right? A lot of people waking up in the middle of the night at 3:33, in the middle of the morning, at 3:33 in the morning, not knowing what to do with it. Yeah. But it's a very powerful number. It's for you to sit and regroup. It's for you to sit and meditate. It's for you to sit and pray. It's for you to sit and connect with yourself. Because the only catalyst here is yourself. It can be for others, but when it's time to be for you, it's yourself. And it can only be catalysts for others up to a certain point, not all the way. They still have to finish their own process. And our names carry a number, right? So if you take the alphabet from A to Z and you put your letters on each number, you get a number. What's that number? What does it mean for you? Yeah. And then if you go, so that's numbers. Okay. That's the Tibetan ancient knowledge numbers. And I'm going to talk a little bit about spirit animals again, because I had a little bit of introduction. But I think it's very important to understand um, the meaning of some of these animals. And to be honest, you will find out when they start coming up for you a lot. You will find out for yourself. You're gonna go and Google what's the meaning of an owl? What's the meaning of a butterfly? And it's gonna come to you. And whatever comes to you is what you need to read. I bet we can all Google what's the spirit animal meaning of an otter. All four of us can Google, and we are all four going to find slightly different variation to the meaning. And whatever you find is for you, it's not for me, it's not for anyone. So trust that what comes up for you when you search is what you need to read and have as a perspective. Okay. So, and it's basically spirits animals is the behavior of animals, how they live, what how do they survive in the elements? What are the resources they use to survive in the elements? And they can only use resources that are natural from Gaia, from Mother Earth. Yeah. So it brings us back down to a root of inner knowledge, if you think about it. The other day I was driving and I saw an order. I saw on my Facebook, I saw it on YouTube, came up something about order. Lennon mentioned something about order. And then I was driving, and on top of a fence, I literally just happened to see it. It was a little order toy sitting on a fence by the side of the road. And I'm like, who put that there? It was for me to see it and really confirm that I was seeing order. So I went to Google to find out what it meant. And then it was such a massive opening in my mind because it was exactly what I spent the whole day dwelling about in my mind, overthinking, which I do overthink. Um, and it just gave me that clarity and it was mind blowing, right? And how do you know there are signs? Because I waited all day to see orders about 15 times before that one really caught my attention. Yeah. And how do you know it's a sign? The first thing is it strikes you, right? It catches your attention. Why did I see that? Oh, that's odd. Yeah. Um, or you saw it a few times and you now you're thinking of synchronicities. Why did I see it more than once? Yeah. Now you're questioning. There's a message here. So now I'm not going to go deep into each animal because there's no point. Like I said, when you search what does the spirit animal of a butterfly means, you're going to find out what you need to find out. I don't need to go and explain what each one does, right? So I'm going to jump now into synchronicities, which is the most important part of this course and how to put everything together. Because the universe sign is numerology, universal sign is synchronicities, is animals, and anything that catches your attention is a universal sign. Literally. Anything that you think that for some you happen to see, do you know that moment that you happen to see? You weren't looking at anything specific, you weren't being attentive on seeing anything, it catches your attention. That's the difference about that's why I want you to understand the essence of synchronicities. We can sit down, set an intention to communicate with my higher self. That's an intention. That's not synchronicity. Okay. But then a synchronicity, because it's a sign sent to you, you cannot have intention to see it. It has to just happen. It has to just be there and you notice. It's that kind of feeling, that kind of sensation where you weren't looking for it. Yeah. Oh, it's 11:10. I'm going to wait for 11:11. No, it's not that. It's just that, oh, oh, 11:11. Oh yeah, 11:11, right? It's that sense of it just caught your attention. That's what universe sign is, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be just animals and numbers, could be anything. It becomes a reason for you to pay attention when it becomes a synchronicity or repetitive. That's when you that's when I say, well, I'm gonna pay attention now. So anything that feels catches your attention, feels highlighted to you, you suddenly notice, you feel drawn to, anything that doesn't make sense is a sign, right? Anything that it doesn't make sense, but later on you realize it was a sign, okay? And then synchronicity. So it's anything that happens more than once. Sometimes you could be talking about it happens so much between in my family, like between my husband and my child. The other day I was speaking to someone outside the family. I'm wondering if I'm underfeeding my dogs and they always hungry, they look skinny. I wonder if I'm under not skinny, but I wonder if I'm underfeeding them. And that was a conversation I had with someone on the street in the morning. And then I come home, we're cooking tea, and my husband goes, I think we're underfeeding the dogs. And we didn't have that conversation before, right? That's the synchronicity. So it means that, you know, I am caring about something that perhaps needs attention. He just confirmed, he validated that my thought wasn't just um, an overreaction that my dogs perhaps are underfeeding. I'm underfeeding my dogs, right? So we had to add, I think it was 20 or 30 grams in a day to make sure that they were within the daily thing. Because we changed foods and didn't realize that the measure was different. It was a matter of days. It was just one thing that we just not even question, not even notice. But I had a feeling we were, and then he had it validated. So you got validated, yeah. And and it brought us to an alignment. It brought us to an alignment with the dogs. Perhaps the dogs were sending us that message all the time, and it took us a few days to pick up. Yeah. However you think it can be. And that's what I'm saying. It just brings us back to an alignment. It brings us back to a path that we perhaps just diverted a little bit. Okay. And when we are feeling a lot of chaos, a lot of resistance, a lot of that's also a sign. If you're trying to get somewhere and you can't find your car keys, that's a resistance from the universe. That's a sign. Perhaps wait, perhaps you've been saved from a heavy traffic or an accident. You just need the extra 5 minutes, yeah, for you to be redirected. Sometimes we are ahead of our time, and that's why we need to be delayed. Those are all signs of the universe. So don't push through resistance. Even through, you have a project. Like today, my laptop would not work at all. It's under here. Just can't use it. I'm using the phone. But every time it wasn't a resistance, because what I realized, there was a fault with the camera. I only figured that out today, so perhaps I would have had trouble if I used a laptop, but it's fine now. Phone is fine, yeah. So just a little resistance to redirect me to a better option. So I wouldn't push it through anymore. I just don't push through things anymore. I wait, I say something else is going to come, and that's all trust. You got to have that trust in the signs. You got to have that trust in yourself. You got to have that trust in the universe to really be at peace with all these information that are coming to you. And this is how you're going to use it. You're not going to pay attention. That's not the word I want to use. You're going to notice when it comes to you, right? And there's a few things that these signs can do for you. Okay. So these signs can reveal to you a thinking process. How are you thinking? What kind of process thinking are you using? Is it a process of self-doubt? Is it a process of limiting yourself because of fear? What thinking process? So if you see a number, repetitive number, I would try to retrieve the less thought. And I found that was the hardest thing to do because I couldn't even remember. They were so automatic on self-doubt. I didn't even know they were running through my head 24/7. And when I saw 1111, I thought, what was I thinking? I couldn't recall. And it took me a few times to really start asking and going back, asking and going back, seeing the number, asking, going back, seeing the number, asking, going back, to realize, yeah, I can understand the thought now. Yeah. And if I Google 1111, I always got a slightly different message as an angel number. You can Google angel number 1111, it comes up. I always got a slightly different meaning, but it always matched to the thought process I was in. And it was so good for bringing me awareness where my thoughts were, because I was walking around in self-doubt, not even having a clue. It was just running through my head. And it was actually the numbers that caught my attention enough for me to question and say, why am I seeing these numbers? And there's a lot of people questioning this. And you gotta use it your own way. But I went on the thought first. I don't know how I did it. I don't know why. But I thought, what was I thinking when that came on? When I saw that. And that's how my journey started, with understanding signs and using it as a tool, right? So other questions you can ask yourself. What was I thinking when I saw that sign? And then go find the meaning, because it will be very relevant to the thought process or the thinking or the story that was going in your head. It will be very relevant. Okay. It could even bring answers. It can bring guidance. It can bring validation. Yeah. Decision, or something to be shown to you that you weren't seeing before, like uncovering that blind spot. What were you feeling when you saw that sign? That's another one. Not everyone is so in touch with their feelings, and they perhaps start at the thought. I had to start at the mind because I was not in touch with my feelings. And it was a while before I asked that question to myself. What was I feeling? Yeah, what emotions were coming up at that time I saw that sign? So this is how you're using it. What were you about to do when you saw that sign? Or what were you not about to do, or hesitating, limiting yourself to do when you saw that sign? What was the action? Or what was the intention of action but didn't get completed? And once you see them often enough, and once you get messages of guidance often enough, you start to make associations. There's no other way around it. Our mind is a conditioning mind. We will condition your universal signs. You will. But it's not a bad thing, okay? Because you're conditioning to guide you further in the future, because then it becomes easier to make associations, right? Today I can look at an owl, and for me, I know it's a moment of wisdom. It's a moment where some knowledge is going to come out for me to understand something very profound. Simple, because I've been in that situation so many times, and the owl showed up. There's no other way to not associate with that. Okay. But the owl could mean something slightly different for you. Maybe it could mean something about being something that's happening in the middle of the night that you're not aware. Yeah, because she's a nocturnal animal, isn't it? She's awake, she's monitoring, she's surviving at night. So are you awake at night because there's a lot going on at night in your mind? Yeah. Is that the time you can switch off? So you look at the behavior of the animal and try to see how it fits to what you're going through. And it has to come easy. I don't want you to try to dig into it. It should just come easy. It's not something that you're going to do like try to fit. As you ask the question, it comes. And that's why I loved how I found this today, because I forgot my Oracle cards. And there's a little shop across the street, and I went in there, and that was the only one they had. And I love how it's questions, because that was I just realized this today talking now. Just realized now. I ask questions, right? to question the signs in a way while they're trying to tell me. But then I also ask questions where I was at when I saw that sign. And it's funny how the only the only oracle card I found today was one with questions. So I love that. See, synchronicity is validating. Yeah, just validation right there in front of your eyes. So it is here to uncover, to clean up your intuition as well, because remember, we can easily override our intuition with our conditioning, with the self-doubt thought processes. And if we are forever overriding, we are forever taking those paths that are a little bit more chaotic. So why can we just not take the easy path? Yeah. So it will fine-tune your intuition. It will fine-tune about uncovering your triggers, like we talked about in the other course. The conditioning, your mirror reflections with other people, between you and other people, your thought processes, your limiting beliefs. My limiting beliefs, it was doubt, self-doubt, and I was constantly having active thoughts of self-doubt, but not even listening to them, because wasn't listening to them. I was, because I was acting as I was in self-doubt. So I must have been listening to them, but I didn't know they were there. Yeah. And that's how I had to catch myself every time I saw the numbers. So just recapping, it's very simple, right? Just recapping. Universal sign is anything that catches your attention. It's a natural, organic aha catching your attention. Nothing more. You're not setting intention to see. You're not looking to see. Oh, I'm going to go for a walk, and if I see squirrels, then I know I'll be happy. It's not like that. Yeah. Squirrels. Can anyone Google for me quickly, if you're not on your phone? Can you Google squirrels spirit animal meaning? Just whatever comes first. Just usually comes in bold on Google. Just squirrels. And it's slightly different, isn't it? And that's what you need. That's what we need. Whatever comes to us is what we need. When I had a little journey with squirrels. When I used to go out play with my son outside the house, like outdoor, there's always a squirrel that used to either jump in front of us really like suddenly, or run across, or get in and out. It was always something like that. And then one day I went to look, and he says, just allow yourself to be more playful. That's it. That's all the message I got when I Googled it. And it made sense at the time, because I was learning to be a playful, because I will always help myself like that. So I used to struggle to get out into the playful mode. And that was something I was working towards. But it's funny that it came up for me to read. So since then, every time I see it as with my son, that I see a squirrel, I just go even more playful, because it's just, I remember that's the message. So it just stays with me. And I don't see squirrels as often now. We go out play, we don't see as often. They don't jump on us like they used to anymore. So basically the journey of that sign, that animal sign, whatever universal sign, has come to an end. Yeah, because you have profoundly integrated what that sign came to show you. You got alerted. You were able to see what you needed to see to be able to make changes that you wanted to change. you integrated, you're now able to do without reminders, without the squirrel jumping your path and scaring you all the time, right? Because you are on your path, you are doing that path of being playful in that moment. So the squirrel will not jump anymore, right? And that's the beauty of the signs. They will come and go. And also the coming and going is a validation that you have understood the message and integrated it and done the job that you needed to do. Basically, simple as that. Yeah. And we will have animal totems, which is animals that kind of we resonate with. For example, I resonate with whales. My mom resonates with frogs. Do you guys resonate with any animals specifically that you just kind of love it? And it will change, and eventually, I think you know, um, sometimes when these spirits animals change, or even the numbers change, they they will show up on a 3D, perhaps dead. You might see them dead a few times. You might see on TV dead, dead this, dead this. And it's not a bad thing. It just means that you have integrated the essence of that animal within yourself. Yeah, you have used the resources that that animal has to offer you in terms of a way of being. You have integrated, you have learned the lesson, and then another animal comes through as a spirit animal, and it could be they have one as a child, it could be they have one in different stages of your life, it could be that you have one forever, but then you have other ones that pop in and out through your life. So it's just being open, because then it helps you integrate the lessons that these animals can teach you. Yeah. Um, so when you see them, on the 3D here, more of them, but they're not alive, it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean it's not a bad look. It just means a completion of your understanding of the lessons that the animal could teach you. Yeah. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of variations of what you can do with signs. I have a sign that is 1 and 4, the combinations of number 1 and 4. 1 is beginning, 4 is Gaia, community. And but when they come together, the 1 is actually amplifying the 4. It's not necessarily a beginning, but it's amplifying the power of 4. If you take the number 4, which is community, being connected with the elements, being grounded. If you go deeper into it and amplify it, you can get to a level of understanding of love, unconditional love, right? Because you have unconditional love for these elements, for Gaia. And what happened was, every time I was in a situation where I was understanding a little bit further into the meaning of unconditional love rather than conditional love, the numbers, any combination of the numbers 1, 4 would come up. If you Google, and that's not what it means, 1, 4. But for me, if the 1, 4 was coming up every time I got myself in a certain situation, I associate it as a number of unconditional love. And now there's a lot of times that I was just in that state where there was an unconditional love between me and another person, just through a chat. We unconditionally understand each other. And it was just that nice understanding. There was a combination of 1 and 4. So it became my sign for unconditional love. Yeah. So you will have signs revealed to you through repetitive synchronicities again, when they come up many times in a certain situation, but we look at the number, but we need to look what was happening when that number or that sign came through, because you might find that that situation is repetitive enough for you to pick up a pattern. And what was the pattern for 1, 4 for me? It was a moment of mutual understanding. It was always a nice, lovely moment of mutual understanding, and that number came up. Okay, so you have your own numbers as well. Eventually, you're going to build up little signs. So there's a lot of things I don't look up anymore. I remember from my own experience, and you're going to remember from your own experience. And other things I still look because it's a bit intriguing. And I'm like, right, I need to look into that. And it becomes fun, right? That's the fun of it. And if there's anything there for you to see, right, be open to see with fun, with love for yourself, because it's the only way for you to then see it with easy eyes, to make changes to your own perceptions, to make change how you see the world, to make changes how you want to be presented to the world. And that allows you to just make those integrations much easier, much quicker. Yeah, so be friends with these signs. Be friend with these signs. They are your friends. And I did it. I'm feeling towards the end. I look at the time, it's 107. 107. So that's spirituality that is speaking. Okay. And nice, just nice. So there's one more thing I want to share. I wrote it down here. Oh, where is it? Okay. I want to go back to the number 3 because if you're here, you you are on this journey of very profound self-growth. With that will come the ability to sense energies. There's no other way around it. You could be on your path of self-growth through religion, through education. It will bring up your ability to read energies, okay, to sense energies. You might not understand what they mean, but you will be sensing. And most likely, you could be a catalyst for many situations. You also have to remember that you don't have to take on that role. You have a choice. Yeah. And the reason we take on that role is because of a limiting belief. I sat on that number most of my life because I wanted to help people, because I wanted to be a savior, because I wanted to assist. Today, I can sit here and feel like this can be helpful, but I don't feel like a savior anymore. I had to work through that. And the number 3 was that showed me this limiting belief that, I have to help everyone around me, right? So even just that one number, if you just sit with that number and go within and ask questions, it's the asking of the questions that makes the change. It's the asking of the questions. You have to ask questions. When you're going through a triggering process that we talked about last week on the course, it's all about self-questioning, but not self-questioning to punish or judge yourself. It's just an auto questioning to really help you go deeper into your own journey within. And these what the signs are doing. Yeah, the signs are here to help you and these different ways that you can use them. So eventually they will pop up in situations that are patterns, repetitive patterns for you to see, to realize that there is a pattern. You will be using them for validation. Maybe you're about to do something and they come up so many times and eventually it becomes a validation. It could be a guidance. Okay. You could also create your own sense of that sign. You can create your own sense of that sign. And I'm going to tell you a story that I only did this once, but it was amazing. I posted something about a meditation I was going to do that I wanted to do live. And I wasn't sure, of course, because I was still sitting a bit in self-doubt. And I stopped the video and I went back in and I said, I asked the angels, I said, angels, Please give me a sign if I am to post this meditation or not. And and a big peach came in my mind, a fruit, peach. I said, okay. So I put a peach on the post on Facebook to link to the meditation. And I literally did that, went out the door to get my son from school, stopped at a convenience store to get a snack for him before I pick him up. And I come out of the car, and this lady facing the other way with the t-shirt long, like long one to the, to the knee, with a massive peach. I mean, it was that big on the back. I sat in the car laughing. She turned around, it was my neighbor, and I thought, thank God for that. Thank God for that. So I made a sign appear. Not I made a sign appear. I take that back. But I asked for a sign. The sign came to mind. I trusted it. It was a process of self-trust, right? Because I was always self-doubting. That was my little beginning of journey of self-trust. Okay. Um, I revert the situation. I said, I'm always getting signs and being validated, but can I reverse this? And can I make it look the other way around where I create a sign and then it's given to me? Yeah. And that was my way of flipping my self-doubt. So you can use a sign to do something like that. Yeah. Not talking about self-doubt, but could be anything else. Yeah. Can you please show me a sign that, I'm on the right path to heal this? And it will come. You are connected now. You are more connected. I mean, not now, but you are more and more connected with your heart, with your mind, with your, with your soul. You are able to ask these questions and get quicker answers now, aren't you? Yeah, when you have that moment, it's a true moment. So those are the moments to ask those questions and wait for the answers to come. Yeah. And start your journey of understanding science with these questions in your numbers and see what comes up this week without trying to look for it. Let yourself be surprised, alerted, let yourself notice coming to you, so that it gives you a starting point in this journey of synchronicities. What I would say, just for the waking up in the middle of the night, repetitive number, so 11:11, 2:22, 3:33, 4:44, 5:55. There was a period I was waking up on those hours massively. It made sense only when I decided to get up, sit up, and meditate. When I was resisting, trying to roll to one side, roll to the other, trying to go back to sleep, I woke up at 4:44, then at 5:45, I was waking up like I was being awakened, being kicked in the butt. Get up, get up. So this is through every religion, right? In the middle of the in the middle, it's not the middle of the night, but it's when you put yourself to sleep, your hormones, your body chemistry changes. Yeah. When you go into deep sleep, whether you're sleeping in the morning or do night shifts, but then you sleep during the day, it doesn't matter. It's because you put yourself to sleep, your hormones come down, your body chemistry changes, and then you get into a state of almost like a state of relaxation, okay? Which means that we increase our vibration of our frequency through sleep. And when we do, if there are any guides that are willing to communicate with you, they can meet with you in that frequency. But sometimes the frequency can be too much, the energy can be too much, and we wake up. But because we're waking up at a specific time is telling us that we have connected either with our soul on a deep level, higher self in a deep level, yeah, with the guides that we normally connect to. And we have received information that will help us on the next steps. It could be the next day, could be the next full week, could be the next month, could be the next moon cycle. But something's going to come up for you that you need to see, to understand, to make changes, to integrate. If we are resisting, it's going to happen every night. The minute you sit up and you meditate, you just trust that you are receiving what you need for during the day. And this is how I noticed my signs starting to pop up like this, because I was more open to them. Those meditations in the middle of the night made much easier for me to see the signs, much, much easier during the day. And this is the only correlation I can see from a pattern I went through from waking up in the night, and the pattern of signs showing up more is my pattern. This is how I see it. But you're going to find your own. Well, as long as you respond to that time and sit up and meditate, yeah. I can get very groggy in the middle of the night, and I meditate and I'm like this and I'm like this. I really struggle, but not recently, but I used to. It was a fight for me to sit up and meditate, but now it's easier. Yeah. So it's all about practice, all about what are you willing to do, what changes you want to do. Yeah, all of that. Any questions? Enlightenment. So this is the most powerful number people say, because it's really to catch your attention, to say there's something for you to see. If you don't see 1111, I'm going to send you a bear. I'm going to send you a cheetah. I'm going to send you a dolphin, right? It's that number that really you have to stop and ask some questions. Gentle questions, of course, loving questions, yeah. Open the channel to receive. Any questions? Did it make sense a little bit? It's very flexible how you do it. It's just, yeah, very, it comes as it comes. And you make sense of it, how you make sense of it. Don't doubt. Yeah. Yeah. When you start noticing energies, you can notice other people's as well. And then eventually you will go through a journey of discernment, and then a journey of learning how to separate, and a learning of journeying when you decide to actually feel someone's energy or not, right? Because it's all new, it's just like learning to walk. You got to do little steps and then progress. So yeah, when you open to energies, a lot of things can happen, but it's all a learning curve. It's all taking you the next step, the next step, the next step. Yeah. Should we do just a little heart connection just to calm down, just to settle, and not long, just a few minutes. So I'm just going to ask you to just breathe into your heart. Allow your breath to start however it starts, and you breathe however it breathes, until all of a sudden it's just very, very subtle and gentle and relaxed on its own, without intentioning to do it, without pushing it to do it. If you need a deep breath after a short one, it's fine. Just allow your breath to tell you exactly what you need. So you're not manipulating anything here. And just, the only intention is that you are in your heart, in your body. And we all sharing. We all gonna do sharing. I want to feel your heart. I want to share my heart. It's reciprocity here between us all. Beautiful, beautiful moment. Just bring awareness back into the center of your chest. Allow it to do what it needs to do. Beautiful. And I'm going to ask you to keep breathing, connecting with your heart. And I want you to trust on this one. Take whatever comes first. Don't overthink. Just allow it to be there in your mind, whatever comes. And I'm going to ask the universe to send you all right now a sign that you need to be aware for the week. Make a note of it. And you're going to use this sign. I don't want you to keep searching for it and digging for it. I want you to remember that if you notice, it's a sign that you're understanding how to use signs, that you'll be able to see more signs, use it for guidance, use it for validation. You'll be able to discover your own ways of having this relationship with your signs, to build trust. And that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. So we can come around nice and gentle, nice and easy. Thanks for sharing your energy. Thanks for sharing your heart. Felt amazing. Okay. Right on time, right on time. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the leap of faith. And um, there's a couple of ideas for courses which I thought about a while back, which is going through abandonment issues. But I think I've learned from the first one to taking little steps and work with the healing at the same time. So we're not just looking at it as a class, we're looking at it as a healing session. So hopefully I'll put that together soon and, be out there for you to see if it's something you need to work with. Yeah, and just looking forward to sharing more in the group and hearing from you guys as well. Please share your stories. Please share your synchronicities. I want other people to see it, how easy it is. Yeah. Just put it in there. Okay. Or sometimes I put on random and every song there's a message that is something about what I'm going through. But consecutive songs, like every single song, I'm like, how is that possible? And also we end up listening to the song and seeing in a completely different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The same song sometimes 20 years later or the next day, because we have a different way of looking through life. So you can imagine how communication with people can be so different on a different day, because it all down to how we feel on that day. And
Yeah.
it can be so limiting to think that it's all set in stone, right? What people say. So yeah, it's just to be mindful, really. But yeah, definitely music, books, anything is a sign. Anything that catches your attention and gives you an answer is a sign. Simple as that. But just trust and believe and go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you one little story. Last one. I've been here in 2022. This is one of the reasons for these signs that I explained. But when I first had to do these trips every other week for work, I was going through a self-discovery of the emotion and physical. And I was healing certain conditions, medical conditions, and I was discovering that. And now I'm back here and I'm wondering, why am I brought back here? The first question when my job said you have to go there, I thought, why am I brought back here? And all the pictures in the room were deers in 2022. Now they're all owls and butterflies. And when when I I found the car parking from 2 years ago in my bag. On the day I parked here this year, I had no idea it was in my bag. And when I looked at the numbers, they're the same numbers and just swapped around with the month and date. I couldn't believe it. And then I remember the last time I came, I was struggling well, the end of the month, and the company pays for everything, but that night the hotel got cancelled. So I couldn't book through the company system. I had to book from my own account. I said, I don't have the money. I don't have the money, right? And today I was having dinner downstairs before I came to the course, and I thought, I really want a dessert. And I because we have a budget of how much to spend. And I looked at the budget and I'm like, I'm about £2 short. I'm gonna have it anyway, because I have £2, not a problem. I sit down on the chair, put my hand down here, I found £5. So look at the change. I've gone from five, raw change, right? Number five. Look at the change I've gone from 2022 to today, 2024. I was brought here to see that change, because sometimes we can only see a difference when we're back in the same pattern or environment. We can only see a new version of ourselves when we're back in the same environment, on the same situation. That's when you know you can act differently, because you're a different version of yourself. And that was just a validation to be here. And I didn't have to be here long. Last time I was here, I came 6 times. So there was something I wasn't seeing. This time I came twice, and that was enough. I've seen it. Yeah. So even a situation can be repetitive as a synchronicity, a complete situation like relationships, situation with our other half, situation with our kids, with work, for us to see something. What is the sign? What is different in that situation? For me, it was Diaz compared to butterfly. Butterfly's transformation, Diaz is something else, which I have to have a look. I forgot now. But it related to both times, right? So, yeah. So use your signs wisely. I only give you a couple ideas. You're going to find your own ways of doing it. Okay? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love you guys.